أهلا بيكو. النهاردة هنغوص شوية في فصل مهم قوي، الفصل 15 من رواية تشارلز ديكنز امال عظيمة.
الفصل ده فعلا محوري.
المصدر بتاعنا هو مقتطفات مركزة منه. هدفنا بقى نشوف ازاي بيب بطل القصة بيتطور، طموحه بيزيد ازاي، وكمان التوترات اللي بتظهر حواليه فجأة وبشكل يقلق.
بالظبط. الفصل ده بيكشف عن شرخ كده، شرخ بيكبر جوه بيت نفسه. رغبته انه يبقى اقل عامية زي ما هو بيقولها بتزيد قوي،
خصوصا بعد كلام استل الجرح ليه.
تماما. الموضوع ما بقاش مجرد طموح، لا، دي بداية احساس بالخجل، بالعار من اصله ومن جو الحداد الطيب اللي رباه. بنشوف ده كويس قوي لما بيحاول يعلم جو عند البطارية القديمة هناك في المستنقعات.
والمحاولة دي لوحدها بتقول كتير قوي، مش كده؟ مش بس فشل في التعليم،
لا خالص.
هي بتورينا قد ايه عالمهم بقى بعيد عن بعض. جو مبسوط باللحظة وبالغليون بتاعه عادي،
بالظبط،
انما بيب دماغه في حتة تانية خالص.
تماما. جو ده رمز للرضا والقناعة بالحياة البسيطة اللي هو فيها، إنما بيب مبقاش قادر يشوف قيمة الدنيا دي بنفس الطريقة،
لدرجة إن حتى المشاهد الطبيعية، النهر والمراكب وكده، بقت في دماغه مرتبطة بميس هافشام وإستلا
والبيت الغريب بتاعها. كأن الجمال كله بقى محصور في العالم التاني ده اللي هو عايزه، وده بقى اللي بيخليه قرر إنه لازم يروح يزور ميس هافشام تاني،
مع إن جو حذره تحذير منطقي جدا بصراحة.
طبعا
إن الزيارة دي ممكن تتفهم غلط إنها طمع أو حاجة، بس جو بيوافق بشرط إنها مرة واحدة للشكر وبس،
ولو مفيش ترحيب يبقى خلاص ما تتكررش.
أيوة. ومن هنا بقى الأمور بتبدأ تتعقد زيادة بظهور أورليك.
أورليك مساعد الحداد، شخصية مهمة جدا بتظهر هنا. هو مش مجرد عامل كسلان وقوي وكده، لا،
تحسه تجسيد لجانب مظلم كده.
بالظبط، جانب مظلم أو يمكن ساخط في العالم ده، وكاره لبيب بشكل واضح جدا. وجوده لوحده بيضيف إحساس بالتهديد في الورشة، والتوتر ده بيبان على طول.
أول ما بيب يطلب نص يوم أجازة عشان يروح المدينة ويزور مس هافشام، تاي أورليك نط وقال وأنا كمان عايز نفس الأجازة
فورا.
وهنا بقى بنشوف أكتر من مجرد خلاف عادي، ده صراع طبقي صغير كده واحتكاك شخصي باين قوي.
والصراع ده بيولع بقى لما أخت بيب المدام جو بتتدخل بأسلوبها المعروف.
يا ساتر.
تهاجم جو إنه إزاي يدي أجازات وتشتم أورليك في وشه.
وهنا بقى أورليك ما بيسكتش، بيرد عليها رد عنيف ومباشر برضه، بيقول لها يا زوجة أب صليطة اللسان.
وهنا بنشوف جو مختلف، بيتدخل بقوة غير متوقعة خالص، بيدافع عن كرامة مراته، وبصراحة بيهزم أورليك بسهولة تامة.
بس الأغرب من الخناقة نفسها هو اللي بيحصل بعدها على طول،
دي اللي غريبة فعلا،
المصالحة السريعة دي. تلاقيهم قاعدين بيشربوا بيرة سوا كأن مفيش أي حاجة حصلت.
وجملة جو البيب ساعتها لخصت الموقف كله. الحياة كده يا بيب، شوية هياج وشوية هدوء.
كأن العنف ده جزء طبيعي من حياتهم، بيحصل وبيعدي. بس السؤال بقى، هل هو فعلا بيعدي من غير ما يسيب أثر؟ دي نقطة مهمة، والأثر ده بنشوفه على بيب نفسه. زيارته من ميس هافشام بتزود إحباطه أكتر، المكان هو مفيش تغيير،
وهي بتقابله بورود مقصود، بتأكد له إنه مش هيورث حاجة، وبتستخدم استيلة عشان تزود إحساسه بالخسارة والنقص.
وبتسأله بخبث كده، هل تشعر أنك خسرتها؟ طبعا بيخرج من عندها هو كاره حياته أكتر وأكتر.
وهو راجع بيقع في موقف تاني غريب مع الأستاذ وابسل والسيد بامبلشوك. إصرار وابسل الغريب إنه يقرأ مسرحية جورج بارنويل التراجيدية دي قدامهم.
المسرحية دي عن شاب بيقتل عمه عشان يورثه.
بالظبط. وبيب بيحس إنه القراءة دي متوجهة له هو، كأنهم بيتهموه بانقراء الجميل والطمع، وبامبلشوك بيختمها بتحذير مباشر ليه.
الجو العام بيبقى كئيب قوي في طريق الرجوع، ضباب تقيل ومطر،
وبيسمعوا صوت المدافع من الهالكس، سفن السجن اللي في النهر، وده معناه إن في مساجين هربوا.
ويصادفوا مين؟ أورليك تاني اللي بيقول إنه كان ماشي وراهم. كل دي تفاصيل بتخلي الجو مشحون ومتوتر.
والتوتر ده بينتهي بمشهد صادم لما بيرجعوا البيت، بيلاقوا الدنيا مقلوبة، وبيكتشفوا إن أخت بيب اتعرضت لهجوم عنيف جدا، مضروبة على راسها وفقد الوعي.
والمهاجم مين؟ محدش عارف، والهجوم حصل وهي لوحدها في البيت.
الفصل ده نقلة كبيرة بصراحة. طموح بيب بيعلى قوي، وفي نفس الوقت العنف والغموض بيدخلوا حياته بشكل مباشر وقوي.
وزيارته لمس هافشام زودت إحباطه، والصراع مع أورليك كشف توترات كانت تحت السطح، والنهاية الصادمة دي بتفتح الباب لأسئلة وشكوك كتير قوي.
وده بيخلينا نفكر في نقطة أخيرة كده، هل كل الأحداث دي ورا بعض مجرد صدفة؟ يعني التوتر اللي في الورشة ووجود أورليك في كذا مكان في نفس اليوم وخلافه المباشر مع أخت بيب.
والهجوم اللي حصل وهي لوحدها والباب مفتوح كمان.
بالظبط. هل ممكن كل ده يكون صدفة بريئة كده؟ ولا الخيوط دي كلها ممكن تكون بتشاور على اتجاه معين أو شخص معين؟ ده بقى اللي ممكن نعرفه في الأحداث الجاية.
You know that feeling. You want to really dig into something, get a proper handle on it, but finding the time is, well, it's tough. That's where we come in. We're diving into chapter 15 of Great Expectations today. A really packed chapter for Pip. We see him trying to learn, his relationship with Joe getting complicated, and then this really disturbing thing happens at home. So our mission, if you like, is to unpack all that, see how Pip's changing, figure out the relationships, and really understand that that sense of dread that builds up.
Yeah, and what jumps out straight away is Pip's growing awareness, I suppose, of where he fits or where he wants to fit. His proper schooling, such as it was, ends with Mr. Wopsel's great aunt, which, let's be honest, wasn't much.
Oh, absolutely. That poor woman. It was barely education, was it? More like childcare with nodding off.
Yeah.
But then Biddy steps in, and suddenly things change. She's actually teaching him. You know that silly comic song, the Turulu Rule thing, the way Pip just memorizes it all so earnestly. It's funny, but kind of revealing.
It really is. It shows how desperate he is to better himself, even if he's maybe learning the wrong things, or for slightly skewed reasons.
Yeah, his judgment isn't quite there yet, but you see him wanting to learn, wanting to elevate himself, and it's already creating a bit of distance, isn't it, between him and his old life?
Exactly. Biddy's practical, grounded, a total contrast to Mr. Wopsel's theatrics. It's real learning versus just showing off.
And speaking of showing off, or maybe just trying too hard, Pip tries teaching Joe down at the old battery.
Oh, that scene. It's brilliant.
Isn't it? The setting, the broken slate, Joe's pipe. It's like a parody of a classroom. And Pip's reason for doing it. To make Joe worthier of my society and less open to Estella's reproach.
Wow. Yeah, that hits hard, doesn't it?
It really lays bare how much Estella's comments has gotten under his skin. But is it just snobbery? Or is there also this, clumsy desire to bring Joe along with him?
I think it's a mix. Definitely some snobbery he's picked up, probably without even realizing it fully. But maybe, a bit of wanting to share what he thinks is important now. He's conflicted, trying to figure out these new feelings about class and ambition.
And poor Joe just sits there, looking all wise with his pipe.
Huh. That sagacious air.
Yeah. But clearly not taking any of it in. It's funny.
Yeah.
But also, a bit sad. You really see the gap widening between them.
You do, and then Pip has these moments looking out at the marshes, the ships, and suddenly Miss Havisham and Estella are mixed up in his thoughts about the landscape. It shows how much they've taken root in his mind, doesn't it? Symbols of something else.
Something more glamorous, more exciting than the forge, which naturally leads him to think about visiting Miss Havisham again.
Yeah, you can almost feel him wrestling with it. Should he? Shouldn't he?
He knows Joe warned him, didn't he?
Yeah.
About her thinking he wants something.
Exactly. Joe's advice hangs over him, that worry about expectations.
And when Pip finally brings it up with Joe, Joe's reaction is just classic Joe. So practical. He instantly worries Miss Havisham will think Pip's after something. Make it end on it, he says. Just stop stirring things up.
It's that fatherly concern, isn't it? He gets the potential pitfalls better than Pip does, maybe, sees the risk of disappointment, and then he starts thinking about presents.
Oh, the presents. Shoes, a door chain.
Shark-headed screws. It's hilarious, but it just underlines how differently they see the world now. Joe's thinking practical things. Pip's motivations are all tangled up with feelings Joe just doesn't get.
Their wires are getting crossed, definitely. Joe's world is tangible, blacksmithing, simple needs. Pip's is becoming, more complicated. Social climbing, ambition, Estella, and then bang! Right in the middle of all this, Orlick arrives. Or rather, he's there, isn't he? This looming presence.
Yeah, Dolge Orlick. Great name. And the description? Broad, slouching, swarthy. You immediately get a bad vibe.
You do. And Dickens fills in the backstory, the devil in the corner, the fire stories. He's always been this slightly menacing figure in Pip's childhood.
And his resentment towards Pip, especially after Pip becomes Joe's apprentice, it's not subtle. It's been simmering away.
Those little details beating the sparks towards Pip, singing out of tune on purpose, it's passive aggression, Forge style.
Totally. And then the whole half-holiday thing, his demand for the same time off as Pip.
Framing it as fairness.
Right. But it feels more like entitlement, this chippy resentment. Why should he get special treatment? And that old Orlick thing he calls himself. weird, adds to the unease.
Definitely. And the tension between him and Mrs. Joe, Pip's sister, it just builds and builds. Her insults, his glowering responses.
Joe tries to step in weakly, let her alone, but you feel it's going to blow up.
And it does. The fight. Joe versus Orlick.
Which Joe wins decisively.
Yeah.
Shows Joe's strength, his protectiveness, but you just know Orlick isn't going to forget that humiliation.
No way. That festers. It feels like foreshadowing, doesn't it? Orlick holding that grudge.
Absolutely. So after that drama, Pip finally goes back to Sada's house. But he's hesitant, you can tell. Walks past the gate, then comes back.
Yeah, his nerves are shot. And who greets him? Miss Sarah Pocket. Always a pleasure.
Hardly. The whole place is just dripping with coldness and decay.
And Miss Havisham. Just the same. Bitter, stuck. And her questions about Estella.
Oof. Brutal. Telling Pip she's abroad, getting educated, prettier than ever. It feels targeted, deliberately cruel.
And that laugh, that malignant enjoyment when she sees Pip's disappointment about losing Estella, it's chilling. It just makes Pip feel worse about his own life, right?
Exactly. It feeds his dissatisfaction, which, ironically, is probably what she wants. It keeps him tied to her influence, in a twisted way.
So he leaves feeling pretty rubbish and then bumps into Mr. Wopsle.
Oh, God, Wopsle. And George Barnwell.
The longest evening of Pip's life, I reckon. Being forced to listen to that play, Dickens makes you feel the boredom, the sheer agony of it.
He really does. And Wopsle using Pip as a rehearsal audience before unleashing it on Pumblechook. It's pure vanity. He has no clue what Pip's actually going through.
None at all. And Pip feeling somehow guilty like he's George Barnwell just because Wopsle and Pumblechook are carrying on. It's so absurdly funny, but also sad.
It taps into Pip's general feeling of unease, maybe. This misplaced guilt. Everything feels a bit off.
Okay, so the dreadful play finally ends, and then the walk home. Dark, wet, misty. The mood just plummets.
And Orlick's there too, walking with them. That feels significant.
Yeah, and the signal guns from the Hulks firing in the distance.
Creates this atmosphere of dread, right? The reminder of danger lurking out there. And Orlick's comments about escaped convicts. Just planting little seeds of worry.
Then they get to the Three Jolly Barshmen, and something's clearly wrong. People milling about, Wopsle rushes off.
And then the news about Pip's house, that's the pivot point, isn't it? Everything changes.
Completely. It shifts from Pip's internal world, his social anxieties, to something violent, external, real.
Yeah, the chaos in the kitchen described the neighbors, the Surgeon Joe. You get this immediate sense of shock and confusion.
And then the discovery, Pip's sister, attacked, lying unconscious.
It's brutal. The description of the blow from behind and that awful line about her never being on the rampage again. It's shocking.
A sudden, violent interruption into everything Pip's been dealing with just throws everything up in the air.
It really does. A terrifying twist after all the focus on Pip's social climbing and his feelings about Miss Havisham. Suddenly, there's real, immediate danger.
So yeah, we've seen Pip trying to educate himself, try to educate Joe, navigating Miss Havisham, dealing with Orlick's resentment, surviving Wopsle's performance. But this attack, it changes the whole tone, the whole direction, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It ends the chapter on such a dark, ominous note. Pip's personal great expectations suddenly seem, well, overshadowed by this immediate horror.
And it leaves you, the listener, with some pretty big questions, right? Like, who did this? Why attack Mrs. Joe? What was the motive? How's this going to affect Pip? And you've got Orlick simmering in the background, those escaped convicts mentioned. It's a real cliffhanger, a chilling reminder that life can just turn on a dime.